My name is Laurent Reyes, and I'm the CEO and founder of Salfo Technologies. Despite New York City being behind us, we actually started out in Hong Kong out of a studio apartment in 2018. However, in the past 6 years, we've experienced explosive growth to the point where we are now a multinational corporation. We have teamed up with industry leaders such as Apple and NVIDIA to deliver products of the utmost quality to our valued customers. We seek to create innovations that change how we as a society live on a day-to-day basis, and we would like to welcome you on board to assist us in making these ideals into a reality. Now, moving on from this, how about we go to the system walkthrough now, Laurent? Take it away.
Thanks for the segue, Laurent. Hey everyone, Laurent Reyes here, President of Salfo Technologies North America Division, here for the walkthrough. So as you can see, here's our main page, which gives a little description of the features the IMS has, such as cybersecurity, ease of use, and SQL utilization. While scrolling to the bottom gives us a little description about our company. And to the right of it is the link to the YouTube video you are watching right now. That's all we have for the main page. Let's move on to where the magic starts to happen, our login page. At Salfo Technologies, we pride our data security, so we've encrypted our passwords with SHA-256 encryption and use prepared statements with bound parameters to ensure that user input is treated as data and not executable code. This helps prevent any SQL phishing attacks from occurring. As an example, I'm going to input a common SQL injection into the password that will typically allow me to sign in without these parameters in place. This line of SQL code, when ran through unprotected SQL, will be interpreted as a logical operator 1 equals 1, which will always be true. So the system is tricked into thinking the password is indeed correct because it is recognized as true. So let me just copy this and put it as my password, along with putting in my password as well to show you what pops out. So as you can see, it is not recognized a valid email or password due to the things I just mentioned. And even if it were to pass through, all of our passwords have been encrypted through SHA-256, so it would be almost impossible for the attacker to be able to decrypt it. So now let me just input my actual credentials and we can move on to the next segment, which would be the dashboard page. We'll first start looking at the users section of the website, as you can see right here, and more specifically, the add users section. Here, administrators could create new accounts with ease. Let's try doing it right now, actually. Let's put in Perry as the first name, with Platypus as the last name, with the email being pplatypus@salfo.com. We'll set the password as, let's just say, Phineas11. We'll click that add user, and as you can see, the user is successfully added. So let's move to the database real quick to see if it was successfully added. Let's just see it load real quick. And then as you can see over here, Perry the Platypus was added with the ID of 21. This ID number is very important and it is used by other databases for retrieving information. So let's go to the code real quick where I can give you a deep dive to see how this data is being sent. So here we are in VS Code and more specifically the add user PHP. Where first we'll start by establishing a connection to the database through this right here, which when successful, it will then show the form that we just saw back then where it has, first name, last name, email, etc. And then once we submit that, it will extract and sanitize the input data over here, as you can see. And this specific one creates a hash for the password and encrypts it to SHA-256. Well, not encrypts, just hashes it, yeah. And yeah, after this, this command inserts it into the user's database. And once it's establishing the connection, it will use prepared statement, which will securely insert the new user data into the database, which prevents SQL injection attacks from even occurring. And once all that is said and done, there will be a message saying that the user is successfully added. And once the user is added, we could do a list of all the users added to the database in the View Users sections, which we will preview now. As you can see, we're in the View Users page, which shows a list of all the users in our database along with their ID, names, email, along with the time they were created / updated at, along with the action tab. If we were to click the edit button for the action tab, we could edit any of the attributes just mentioned. Let's see this in action, shall we? See, Jackie Star, as we can see right here, just recently changed his first name to Justin End. Let's change his name and email to accurately address these changes. So right here we'll have Justin and then End. And then let's just change his email to accurately reflect these changes. So when we click it, we'll see confirm changes, and then boom, user details successfully updated. Jackie Star is now Justin End. Let's go to the database to confirm it. Come on, and there we go. As you can see right here, we changed his name to that. Now let's move on to the other action, which is the delete action. Unfortunately, Billy Jones, a longtime employee at Salfo Technologies, has not been able to do his job properly for the past few months. So I think it's time to remove some dead weight from the company. Sayonara, Billy Jones. You're fired. As you can see, these were successfully deleted. So let's go to the database to confirmed. Wait a second. And there we go. Yeah, Billy Jones is no longer with us. So now let's look at the code to see how this is possible. So we're back in VS Code, except now we're in the view users PHP file. So we first start by fetching the users from the database. As you can see right here, it connects to the users database and it selects all from the users since we're going to be using all the information from all the columns of that database. And then afterwards, it will display it in a responsive table format, which is right here, where it shows all IDs, first names, and all that stuff. And then next up is the action bar, which is these two right here. And this is the edit button, which will link down to the edit user modal section, which will allow you to update your user information, whether it be your first name, last name, etc. And then the next button we have here is the delete button, which links us to the delete user PHP file. So as you can see here, there is the SQL code that says delete from users where ID is equal to that user. The reason why we don't use their first and last name is just in case there's another user with the first and last name, it might accidentally delete that user instead. So we don't want to leave any of that up in the air. So once the user is deleted, there will be a success message confirming the event was successful. Last thing for a user section, let us test to see if the user we added, Harry Platypus, will be able to sign in with the credentials we provided. As you can see here, we're back on the login page and we'll put in the credentials of our new user, Perry, to see if the system recognizes it. So let's do it. platypus@salfo.com with the password Phineas11. As you can see, the system does recognize a little furry friend as we are sent to the dashboard. As you can see on the left, on the sidebar, it displays the user's full name to indicate that you are correctly signed on to that specific user's account. Let me log out of Perry's account and go back to my own account real quick. Reyes@salfo.com. I input my password. And next up, we're moving on to the product section. More specifically, we're on the Add Product page. Like for both of us actually, because Salfo Technologies just finished developing our new top-of-the-line product, the Salfo Auto Rocket. Let's put that into the product name real quick then. Salfo Auto Rocket. And as for the description, we could say it's a single-use transportation device you can hop into that turns commute times of hours into seconds. And there we go. Now moving on to suppliers, we'll choose ourselves, of course. However, you could choose multiple suppliers if needed as well by holding the shift button, and then you could click that and it shows the entire row. Or you could do the control button and then you could select each of them individually. But we'll just click on Salfo Tech for now. As for the product image, we'll select our image right here, softrocket.jpg. And for the image upload, it'll only take JPEG, PNG, and WebP files to be uploaded. So let's upload the Salfo rocket image and create the product. Now we'll go to the database to see if everything is good there. As you can see, it's right there with a product ID number of 30. And yeah, so let's move on to the code section to see how all this is possible. Alright, so now we're in the add product.php file, and it's pretty similar to what we did in the add user file, where we first establish a connection to the database for inventory, and then after that, I'll just show you the form real quick that we filled out everything in right here, and it's the product image one. Except the thing we did differently here is the inclusion of an image upload option, which we could see right here. Well, first, yeah, we sanitize the data. We extract and sanitize the input data right here. And then for the image file, it checks to see if it's a JPEG, PNG, or WebP file. And if it isn't, it will say invalid type and it'll only display these ones. Or the alternate will be just failed to upload the file. And then if there isn't an error message that I've seen over here, then I'll insert it into the product's database, as you can see here, and I'll use repair statement just to prevent any SQL injections from happening as well. And along with this, you can see over here, it'll also be inserted to a product suppliers table, which we'll be going over in a bit. It's in a section we'll be covering towards in the future. And then after everything is said and done, it says product successfully added, and then it'll reset the page. So next we'll be moving on to the view product section. So this is what the view products page looks like, where it shows a list of all the products in our database, along with their IDs, their respective images, the product names, the stocks, which will be useful for the purchase order section, and along with a little description of them, and the suppliers right here, who was created by, and when it was created at / updated at. And as you can see, we have products from multiple different companies that I've teamed up with, such as the Cybertruck and the original iPhone from 2007. If we were to click the edit button for the action tab, we can edit any of the names, descriptions, or images for the file. For example, let's change the image used for the hammer into that of the rocket. So let me just do that real quick, and then we'll rename it to Rocket 2. There we go. As you can see, the product details were successfully updated. Let's go to the database and see if that is good. Yep, it's right there. So next up, let's test out the delete button. So recently, the Cybertruck has been doing too well. Let's remove that product from our database. As you can see here, the product is successfully deleted. So let's try to check in the database to see if it's there. There we go. It's no longer there anymore. And yeah, there we go. Let's show you how this gets done in the code now. So as you can see here, we're now in the view products.php section, where once again, it is similar in layout to the view user section, where first it establishes a connection to the database right here. Then after that, the table is made through this section over here, where it fetches the suppliers for the product from the suppliers database, and then it will show all this, including the product name, stock, etc. And then for the action button, we also have the edit product module right here, which shows the product name, description, image, which you could change, and the save changes button. And yeah, this is a script to toggle all that stuff. And all of this will lead you to the edit product.php, which will do the actual SQL code into everything over here, which will ensure that it's updated in the database. And then for the delete product section, in order for it to make sure everything works, you have to first delete the product's order history, which we'll be getting into later from their database from that. Delete the product orders from the order product table, and the product suppliers from the table as well. And then once everything is done over here, it will show that the product is successfully deleted, and it will link back to the view products PHP file where you could do more changes and all that. Next up, we'll be going into the supplier section. So here we are at the Add Supplier section in the Supplier submenu right here. And as you can see here, this is where we have the chance to create the suppliers that would go and be matched alongside the products that we saw in the View Products page. So for example, let's put a supplier name Stevens with with their location being in Hoboken and their email being stevens@gmail.com. We'll create that supplier, and then you can see that the supplier is successfully added. And let's just check over here just to make sure. As you can see right here, they are successfully added with the ID of 9. Um, and yeah, I don't think I could show you the code. It's just that it just be this exact same thing as the view user. I mean the add user and the add product code. So I'll just move on to the create supplier, the view suppliers instead. So here we are in the view suppliers page, and more specifically the suppliers list, where we could see the list of suppliers that we are currently working with us being number one, of course, with our respective ID numbers, supplier names, where each supplier is based off of their contact info, and the products associated with each supplier, where we take the IDs of those specific products and then put it there, who was created by, and uh, when it was created at / when it was updated at. And we also have the action buttons here, just as we have in the user and the products page, where we have the edit and delete option. I'll showcase how this works by clicking this, where we can see we could edit the supplier name, location, and the email. Talk about instead of Salfo Tech, we just call it Salfo. And instead of .com, we just make it .co. We'll save these changes, and as you can see, the supplier details are successfully updated. Now let's check to make sure. There we go. So you can see it updates in the database as well. So now let's showcase the delete function for the action. As you mentioned earlier, Tesla hasn't been really doing too hot lately, so I think it's time to say bye-bye to them. So see ya. As you can see, the supplier was successfully deleted, as there's no Tesla over here anymore. And let's just check on the database. And yeah, as you can see, Tesla is no longer there as well. So yeah, we'll next be looking at the code to see how this is possible. Alright, so here we are in the edit supplier PHP file, where we could show that, or the section where we just added the Salfo Tech into Salfo, and the email is right here, which shows the supplier name, location, and email. Once again, filters and extracts this data, and it will update the table with the SQL code right here, and do the prepare statements to prevent any SQL injections. And once this is all said and done, it will show that supplier details were successfully updated. Same thing as we did with the users in the product section. Now we move on to the delete supplier, where first we'll delete the entries in the work product suppliers table that reference this supplier. Basically get rid of any association between the products and the suppliers to make sure there's no foreign key constraint errors that goes on right here. And then we could delete the supplier, and then it'll show that the supplier was successfully deleted. And that's pretty much everything for the supplier section. So let's move on now to the product order section. Actually, before I move on to the purchase order, let us first recap on what we've done so far for the dashboard system. So first, we went to add user, and then we created the user over here, which we would then be able to see over here with Perry the Platypus at P Platypus. Then after that, we went to products, where we created a project for the Salfo rocket, which we would be able to see here. We showcased the edit action to edit the hammer to a rocket, as you can see here. And then after that, we added our own Salfo auto rocket right here, and then we tagged the supplier for it, which is ourselves. It used to be called Salfo Tech, but we renamed our own supplier to Salfo instead. And then these are linked to the IDs of the suppliers that we have from view suppliers right here, or from the suppliers database that we have. And then after that, we showed off the add supplier, where we added Stevens as a supplier. And we could see that over here at stevens@gmail.com. And then we edited salfo.com, so it'd be Salfo Co. And so Salfo Tech will be Salfo. And yeah, now we're going to the purchase orders, which is right here. All right, so here we are in the create order section, which is the core of the inventory management system, if I were to say. So as you can see here, I'm creating an order and you could choose any of the products that we created in the past. So I selected the Salfo Auto Rocket, but for example, I click on Cybernetic Cat, it shows different suppliers you have, which are Salfo and Apple, and then you can enter a quantity that you would like to order from these respective suppliers. But for now, I'll click on Salfo Auto Rocket, and let's just say I'd like to input, I'd like 50 Salfo Auto Rockets. I'll place the order, and then it says the order was successfully created with batch number 172, blah, 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 blah. Each order that you place will have a unique batch number so that you could easily locate it when you are in the view order section over here. But let's just make sure that the product has successfully been ordered. Let's check. So today's date is August 5th, as you can see here. Yep, it was added over here. And we asked for 50 of it, as you could see. So let's just check real quick in the view order section to see if it's shown. Yep, here it is, the Salfo Auto Rocket right here. So yeah, as you can see, we're in the view order section where we have our Salfo Auto Rocket right here. So let's just say when we place the order to the supplier, they give us a shipment of 20 instead of the full quantity order of 50. So we could just say, oh, 20 of them were delivered, and we will set the status to incomplete, and you'll click on OK. So we see that 20 of them are received. But for example, let's just say that next week they sent the remaining 30 of them. So now what we could do is, oh, so 30 of them were delivered. That means 30 plus 20 is 50, right? So we'll set the status as completed, and then boom, there we go. We updated it so that now the quantity delivered is added to the old quantity received, so it could add up to the new quantity received right here. So we could see that everything was good, and then we could click on the deliveries, and then delivery history for this one right here. And you could see the shipments and the dates we got these shipments to like accurately track our inventory when it came in. So yeah, it's a pretty cool feature. And I could show another one right here with the iPhones that we ordered on July 31st, where we have 16 of them. But let's just say that the other 9 arrived just today. So we'll do completed, and then boom, there we go. As you could see, the next shipment came today, where the quantity received was 9, so the thing is completed. So yeah, those are the features of the purchase orders list. It will allow you to accurately see the orders you have placed for these different products, and then you could the update the inventory of each of these products to ensure that um, everything arrived on time. You could check when they arrived. And then when you go to the view products page, you could see that it now updated to the current stock we have right now for the Salfo Auto Rocket, which is 50, which is which would definitely help in keeping track of everything that came over. So yeah, let me go back to view orders. And now let's go to VS Code to see how all of this, or actually no, first off, I will show you the order product history, which shows the deliveries. And this is how it keeps track of everything right here. Yeah, as you can see right here. Yeah, and the order product, it shows the quantity received and the quantity ordered, so it shows 50/50. And then it shows all the statuses and the different batch numbers depending on the dates. So yeah, as I said, let me go to order product, and let me see the ID number of the let me see the ID number. So this has an ID of 30. So as you can see here, it has an ID of 30. Um, and yeah, we can see that the quantity received was 9 and 39. Oh wait, sorry. I mean the order product ID was 52 and 52 for the specific order number that we placed. And we could see that the 20 iPhones were delivered first, and then 30 iPhones were, wait, no, 20 rockets were delivered first, and the 30 rockets were delivered after. And we updated it so that the 9 iPhones were added. So as you can see, this tracks of everything. So after showing that, let me show you how this works in the code to achieve this. So here we are in the create order PHP file, and as you can see here, this is the this is the form that shows the product name, the select product, uh, select product, and then the ID, and then the submit order right here, and then this select product. Once you click on a specific product name, it will use this function to get the list of suppliers over here. One more specifically, it gets the get suppliers.php, which links to this one. So it gets the supplier based on their ID number over here. And then it will show the associated suppliers to the product based on their ID numbers. And then once you input a specific quantity amount, like in this form, it only accepts values of numbers. It will send you to the submit order PHP file, which will, as you could see here, generate a unique batch number using the timestamp that it was sent. And yeah, over here, this is the math it would take for when you do the update order, where we first send equal to 0, 0, and then set the original status to pending. And then once all that is said and done, and everything is uploaded to the the respective tables, you'll see the order is successfully created with batch number, and it will list the batch number mentioned up here. And then now for the view orders page, we'll go over here. So now we're in the view orders PHP file, where this is the standard session start and connect this to the database. But what's unique here is that we first start out with the script that fetches the purchase orders from the database using SQL query right here. Then after that, it organizes it into batches over here, as you can see, which groups the orders by their batch number, and then it stores them into the orders database, as you can see here. Then this is all just CSS like styling for all the things in the view orders part of it. And then this is where it shows it as like the table that you see on the website itself with the ID number, the product, everything else over here. And this is where it stores the fetch data. And then these are the 3 statuses for pending, which is the default. Default one. Then after that is incomplete, and then completed. And let me see. All right, this is the update order module, which as you saw, you could update the quantity received, and then it'll you could update the quantity delivered, and then it'll update the quantity received over there. And here is the delivery history model, which shows like the different times in which a batch, like a stock, was delivered. And this is these two right here are kind of like placeholders for the AJAX requests that will send them to the correct PHP files right here that actually does the content of it right here. So yeah, this is the update order one, and this shows delivery history one, which we will be going over here. So now we'll be going into the update order section, where as you can see here, this script handles the get request to fetch purchase order details for a specific batch. Retrieves purchase order details for the specified batch, and then it outputs them as HTML table rows, where it shows the name, the quantity ordered, etc. And then as you can see right here, it also handles the post requests as well. And we can see that if the quantity delivered is greater than 0, then the script updates the quantity received by adding the quantity delivered, as you can see here, with the plus equal add equal to. It then updates the order product table with the new quantity received and status, because we would normally change the status from pending to incomplete or complete from there. And then inserts a record into the order product history table to track the delivery data. And lastly, it updates the stock of the product table by summing up the quantity received, for all orders related to the product. And then after it processes all these things, it will send an update message that says the order was updated successfully. Lastly, we head into the delivery history portion of the PHP file. So in delivery history, we'll first start by looking at the script which handles the retrieval of delivery history for a specific order, as you can see right here. This section checks to see if an order ID is passed as a get parameter, and if it is, the script then converts it to an integer for security reasons. It then prepares a SQL query to select the ID, date received, and the quantity received from the order product history, where the order product ID matches the provided order ID. And the use of parameter statements with parameter binding prepare with this over here helps prevent any SQL injection attacks by ensuring that the parameter is treated as an integer instead, which you can see over here as an inval. And then the next part is that the script then processes the result set and generates an HTML table to display the delivery history, which you can see right here. And yeah, this code creates an HTML table with the headers, hashtag, date received, all that stuff. And then for each row, it increments the index to display the row number. It formats the date received using PHP's date function to display as a human readable format. And then it also displays the quantity received. And yeah, that's just everything for the delivery history. Now we'll move on to the website again to show you the next part, which is the dashboard PHP. So once again, we're back on the website, except now we're in the dashboard.php file. I know that this is the first page that we opened up to when we first logged in the beginning of the video. However, none of this would have made sense until I explained everything that happened before it. But now we're on to this, and hopefully you'll understand it by now. So as you can see, this is a pie chart that shows the purchase orders by status, where it reads the statuses of like orders from the purchase order section, and then it shows you which like how how many of them are completed, what's the majority. So the majority over here is pending, meaning none of them have arrived yet. And this is useful for like data analytics, for seeing for your IMS system in general. And we could actually see these changes in action by going into the purchase order and viewing the orders. Let's, for example, update this so that it would be completed. Actually, no. Give me a sec. Let's change the pendings to complete, and then we could see that the pie chart will change as a result. We'll say that, and then let's go to the dashboard, and then as you can see now, completed has the majority over pending. And yeah, I'm doing this all through the high charts, the plugin for JavaScript as well. As we can see here, now we could look at the product count assigned to each supplier, and as we can see, Salfo has majority at 6. Next up is Apple at 5, and then Nvidia 4, and then Microsoft 2. And then over here we can see also the delivery history per day, where we can see the amount of products delivered on each specific day. It started on the 30th of July, and then now is the August 5th. We could update this as well, so instead of 59, we could add more products to be delivered. Or let's go to here, and then we could say 133 were delivered, 421 were delivered, and 480 were delivered from Apple, Nvidia, Microsoft, respectively. Now that's complete, and then you will be able to see this shoot up like crazy to 1,903 products delivered on this day. And yeah, I'd say this is pretty useful, like I said, for data analytics. And now we'll jump into the code to see how this is possible. So here we are in the dashboard PHP, and it has the same beginning as everything else where the session starts and then it shows the first name and the last name of the respective user, and then it connects to the database inventory. So for pie chart specifically, it'll do a query through SQL where it retrieves the count of orders um, grouped by their status, and then the results are then stored in an array right here and converted into JSON for use in the high charts chart. Next up, we have the bar chart where it retrieves the count of products associated with each supplier, where the results are stored also in array, as you can see right here, and then convert into JSON for use in the high charts chart. Lastly, we have the spline chart, which retrieves the total quantity of products received each day, where the result is again stored in arrays for both dates and totals, and then converted into JSON uh, format for use in the high charts chart. And then as you can see right here, this is the HTML formatting for these respective charts. And yeah, that's everything for the dashboard portion of it. Now we'll be moving on to the last section, the report section. So here we are on the final reports.php section, and as you can see, this report section is in case if you're on the go and you cannot access this website for whatever reason, you can actually download the products right here, or the deliveries, or the suppliers, or the purchase orders through an Excel file or a PDF file. Let's just do this real quick. Let us download the export products. Here we go, and we could open it in Microsoft, where we could see right here actually that it shows the ID of the product itself, the product name, the descriptions of it, who it's created by, and when it's created at and updated at. And if you prefer, I guess, a different version of it, then you could also click on a PDF, where I could download the PDF version of it. Let me save it and open it. As you can see right here, it shows it right here. This is done through a plugin that I will be discussing in the code aspect of it. But as you can see, it works right here. The next up, we could showcase export deliveries, where we had the deliveries.csv, and it will show in Excel. Should show in Excel. There we go. And we could see the date received for the deliveries, along with the quantity received, the product, who was the supplier that supplied it, and the batch number. And then let me show, we could also do the PDF version of it as well. And let's open that. And as we can see, it's the same situation here, which shows the batch number and everything. I could do the suppliers and the purchase orders as well. However, it'd be the exact same thing as the first two I showed. So everybody of you employees could think through with it when you have a chance to access the IMS website. But now I'll be focusing on the code for the reports both for the Excel version and the PDF version. So now we're in the reports PHP section, and this is all just the styling for it. And this is where the actual buttons for the export products, export suppliers, etc. are. And you'll notice that each of these buttons references a different one. Like for example, the Excel one references the report CSV, which is this one. And this CSV file, report CSV file, first looks at the type of export type. For example, if it's like products or deliveries or the such, and if the export type is equal to products, then it will do a SQL query to find the specific columns of the products to pick out so that it show it in the Excel file. And if it's deliveries, then it'll do the exact same thing. Same thing with purchase orders and suppliers. And then after this, it will output the Excel file right here, as you can see. and then yeah, you could just download it afterwards. And the same, and then now we could talk about the report PDF file, which is right here, as you can see, where it's the same deal, where it depends on the export type. For example, we have purchase orders, products. Let's go to the top. And yeah, as I mentioned in the web page version of it, this is the specific plugin we use. It's FPDF. And some of the commands come from that plugin too. As you can see right here, where's the require and class PDF extends PDF. So yeah, this is basically the CSS for it to make sure that all the information is lined up correctly. And yeah, it's the exact same thing as the Excel version where there's a SQL query for the specific columns to look forward to. This is the spacing for it. And yeah, all this. And then we set it to a landscape orientation and we add the headers and then we export as a PDF right here. So yeah, that's the entire walkthrough for the entire website along with the code associated with the website. And yeah, take it away, CEO and founder Laurent Reyes.
Thank you for listening to our instructional video. We hope that through this you have gained a solid foundation in handling our new IMS systems. We hope to see all of you Salfo employees again sometime, and remember, innovation breeds success.